Hello, my name is Chen. I'm a senior research scientist at the Stanford University School of Medicine. I work in the Department of Chemical and System Biology. And today I would like to share with you a topic about alcohol flushing and its health implications. I think this is a topic that's relevant to a lot of people who are East Asians, but I think it's also important to let people know that this problem is not strictly to the East Asians, and I will explain that during my talk. This is a very important topic because I think there's a lot of misunderstanding about alcohol flushing. And so I'd like to first explain to you what is alcohol flushing, why it is important. And I actually also use a term alcohol intolerance interchangeable because I think this is really a phenomenon reflects well this flushing syndrome. And so as you can see that the alcohol flushing is very common if you have friends who are Asians, and myself as an Asian, I actually have also alcohol flushing reaction. You can see that this picture on the left, this is a person before drinking alcohol. And on the right, this is after drinking alcohol. Not much, just a can of beer. Usually you will have a very quick flushing reaction on your face. Sometimes the whole body actually turns red as well, the chest, the arms, the legs, a strong reaction. And this reaction comes not just with a facial flushing, it also comes with symptoms of headache. Very obviously, the heart rate also raises, called palpitation. And if you drink a little bit more, it will cause vomiting and a lot of symptom ear effect of alcohol drinking, such as hangover. And this is very common to the East Asian peoples. I'm sure you are aware of that among your friends or yourself. That's why I put also the Chinese there and the Japanese, Korean for alcohol intolerance, because I think this is important, in particular for this group of people to know about its implication to your health. So I want to explain to you what causes alcohol flushing because many people do not know medically what causes alcohol flushing. On the contrary, there are actually quite a bit of myth and misunderstanding about alcohol flushing. Many East Asians believe that alcohol flushing actually is good, that it's an indication of a strong liver function. Or people don't know that it's actually has a health risk, so they continue to drink. And also many East Asians drink alcohol regularly, thinking that it's going to protect them, especially red wine will protect their heart against a heart attack. And so there's a lot of myth, and I will try to give you the correct health information today. So as you can see, the alcohol metabolism is very simple. It involves two enzymes encoded by two separate genes. The first step of alcohol metabolism, actually it's by one enzyme called alcohol dehydrogenase 1B. It converts alcohol into a metabolite called acetaldehyde. And acetaldehyde needs to be quickly detoxified by another enzyme called aldehyde dehydrogenase 2, here indicated in blue, another enzyme that quickly will convert acetaldehyde to acetic acid. And acetic acid is usually not toxic, it gets secreted out your body. And we all know that alcohol causes addiction. If you chronically drink alcohol heavily, you will become dependent on alcohol. However, many people probably don't know that alcohol actually contains a lot of calories too. 1 gram of alcohol, it has about 7 kilocalories of energy. And so drinking alcohol actually will increase your body weight a lot too. Usually one beer has about 14 grams of alcohol. So I wrote here, if you're drinking one beer, it's about taking 1 banana. So if you drink 2 beer, that means you're eating the equivalent of calorie that comes from 2 bananas. And so that's alcohol. And today we actually like to focus on the intermediate, this chemical called acetaldehyde. Importantly, I want to let you know is that acetaldehyde is cancer causing. That's why it causes a lot of disease because it's highly toxic. It's not only cause mutation and cause cancer, but actually it's very damaging to the cells. And the WHO actually has classified acetaldehyde as a group 1 carcinogen. And so this is what causes alcohol flushing. In normal people, if you have functional ADH1B and ALDH2 enzyme, this pathway has no problem. Alcohol is quickly metabolized to acetaldehyde and then acetaldehyde to acetic acid. However, you notice that among the alcohol flushing people, on the right-hand side, there's a mutation in the ALDH2 gene, and that makes the enzyme inactive because of a single mutation here. I indicated a mutation of G2A from a STAR1 allele to STAR2 allele. Because of this mutation, change one single amino acid, this enzyme has very, very little or no activity of ALDH2. Therefore, when you drink alcohol, acetaldehyde is accumulated. It stops here. It cannot very quickly be detoxified by the ALDH2 enzyme. And because of this accumulation, it causes this vasodilation. Your face will rapidly turn red, and also it will increase your heartbeat. So all these symptoms on the left is really caused by acetaldehyde, including flushing, headache, palpitation, vomiting, as I mentioned before. So really, the alcohol flushing is very simple. It's caused by this dysfunctional ALDH2, as simple as that. And if you drink alcohol, the detoxification pathway in your body cannot function normally. Therefore, you have a rise in acetaldehyde concentration. And why this flushing is also called Asian alcohol flushing is because most of the people affected by alcohol flushing are in the East Asian countries. The reason is because this single mutation in ALDH2 gene originated about 2,000 to 3,000 years ago. The geneticists have been able to map that from one single person, roughly in the southeast coastal area of China, had this mutation 2,000 to 3,000 years ago. And from this one individual, you can see that this mutation was spread very quickly in all the neighboring countries in the East Asia. Here I'm showing here the country of Korea, China, Singapore on the left, and the country of Japan, Taiwan, and Vietnam. And you can see that in these regions, they have a different percentage of people in each country affected by alcohol flushing because they carry the ALDH2 gene mutation. And Taiwan, it actually has the highest one. And I'm going to use that as an example to show you why this is very relevant, because the cancer rate caused by alcohol drinking in this country is particularly high. And even in the United States, we see that there are many Asian immigrants or Asian descents. We calculated roughly 50 million Asian Americans also carry the ALDH2 mutation. In other words, they are alcohol flushers. And these slides, I want to show you how dangerous this is if you carry the ALDH2 mutations. On the left, we are asking volunteers to drink. This study asked volunteers to drink 2 cans of beers. This is not much. This is about moderate drinking. It's about 28 grams of alcohol, 2 drinks. You can see that on the left-hand side, measuring blood acetaldehyde level. The red line are from the group of people who carry the ALDH2 mutation. You can see that they have a very quick rise of blood acetaldehyde level to a carcinogenic level here, as indicated on the left here. Where the people who do not carry ALDH2 mutation, indicated by the blue dotted line, they can process acetaldehyde properly. Therefore, you cannot detect acetaldehyde level in their blood for this dose of alcohol. You can see that this is a very good match. If you measure the heart rate of these group people, they also have rapid increase of heart rate that mimics the level of their blood acetaldehyde. So this is drinking 2 cans of beer. If you also smoking, this becomes even more dangerous. On the right-hand side chart, you can see that this is another group of people asked to drink 3 cans of beer and also smoke a cigarette every 20 minutes and measure their acetaldehyde level in the saliva. And this is actually a group of people who are normal in their ALDH2 gene. Even with that, you can see that drinking alcohol together with smoking, you see a very rapid rise of saliva acetaldehyde level to 300-400 micromolar. That is about 5-6 times the blood level that was detected in the ALDH2 deficient people. So you can see that this is very, very dangerous, because if you do this very often, over the years, your chance of getting cancer is very, very high. I also want to very quickly tell you that if you are not East Asians, don't think that you are not affected, because we now understand that there are many people who are not East Asians, but they also carry mutations in the ALDH2 gene. May not be the same mutation in ALDH2, the same position, but the result is the same. That is, they have a dysfunctional ALDH2. That means they are also alcohol intolerant. Here showing a picture who is a Caucasian. You can Google it, that drinking 2-3 cans of beer also has the same facial flushing just like East Asians. And we estimated that there's additional 120 million people who are non-East Asians, maybe also very susceptible to the carcinogenic risk of acetaldehyde when they drink alcohol. And so what are the health implications? And here on this slide, I'm showing that there are many diseases now that are known to associate with acetaldehyde accumulation in the ALDH deficient people, namely the East Asian people and the non-East Asian who carry the ALDH2 mutation. Here, I want to emphasize, of course, many diseases, as you can see that from the chronic disease, affects your memory, brain, osteoporosis, gout, cardiovascular disease. But I want to focus actually, it's called the Uadt cancer, because this is most dangerous disease that can come from chronic alcohol drinking if you have alcohol flushing. And so UADT stands for upper aerodigestive tract. And this is a cancer that typically found in your oral cavity, your larynx, pharynx, all the way down to esophagus and stomach. And here you can see that indeed, if you just look at the esophageal cancer, look at the world, the group of people that has the highest incidence of esophageal cancer are East Asians. And this is actually matched very well with amount of alcohol consumption. If you look at the map on the right, this is the map of alcohol consumption in the world. You can see that in the East Asian country, alcohol consumption, it's rising very rapidly. And so esophageal cancer, oral cancers, stomach cancers are rising in these countries. And this is really actually related to alcohol flushing. It's because people who carry the alcohol flushing, their risk of the UADT cancer is very, very high. On this slide, I'm using, again, esophageal cancer example, and to let you know what's the risk of getting esophageal cancer by drinking different amount of alcohol, and if you carry the alcohol flushing mutation or not. The blue line at the bottom is the risk for people who are not flushers. Even for people who are not flushers, if you drink alcohol, there's increased risk of esophageal cancer. Here I'm showing the risk. You can have about 5 to 10-fold risk if you drink 2 cans of beer, for example, if you belong to a group of people in this blue line. But in comparison, if you have the alcohol flushing mutation, drinking the same amount of beer, now your risk increased from 5 to 10-folds to about 50-folds. And then if you drink 3 drinks of beer per day, you can see that your risk of contracting esophageal cancer can be as high as 70-folds. That's just to indicate to you that if you carry the alcohol flushing mutation, even drinking moderately 2 cans of beer or 2 glasses of wine every day, your risk of getting esophageal cancer or oral cancer is very, very high. And then there's truly a lack of public awareness in the East Asian countries, because this is largely an East Asian country. specific genetic mutation and public health problem. So there needs to be a lot of public awareness education to be done, especially in these countries and also East Asians in the United States. And so I think prevention and screening education is very important, and that's my very important message for you. Here in Taiwan, as you can see, current cancer prevention for oral cancer only emphasize two lifestyle risk behaviors like chewing a betel nut or smoking. But we know that there are actually alcohol and also the genetic risk factors, also very important here on this graph, showing the increasing risk of getting oral cancer by different factors, either as lifestyle risk factors or genetic risk factor. You can see that it goes from 10-folds by drinking alcohol alone, if you are ALDH2 normal person, all the way to 400-folds if you carry all the risk factors of lifestyle and the genetic factors. So this is what we are trying to do in country now to encourage the government to have a more comprehensive oral screening program to include all the risk factors, including alcohol consumption and alcohol flushing as the genetic risk factor. And for you, I think it's also very simple to test. Other than drinking alcohol that you know you flush, most likely you carry this mutation. But there's also a very quick, easy way to test yourself or your friends to see if they have alcohol flushing. That is, use simply just a Band-Aid, and you pour some strong alcohol in the middle to wet the cotton area, and then put the Band-Aid on your forearm and in contact with your skin for about 20 minutes. And after that, if you peel off the Band-Aid, if you see a red spot, that means you have alcohol flushing reaction. 70% of the chance this is accurate. That means you have ALDH2 mutation. ALDH2 mutation can now also be tested genetically. Actually, many companies provide this service. I'm just giving you a few examples here. They can actually very precisely spot check your DNA sequence to know whether you carry this G to A mutation as shown at the bottom to carry this mutation. So if you're interested to want to know for sure, you can actually send your samples to this commercial company to know whether you carry this mutation in your DNA. Lastly, in Taiwan, I'm heavily also involving in helping the government to educate the public. And we are using all kinds of ways to tell people about alcohol flushing and its health risk. It's not really a benign phenomenon, just have a red face. It's not embarrassing. I know a lot of Asian people try to cover this symptom by taking Pepsi, which is suppressing your reaction of flushing, but it's not really good because it's really mask the warning sign your body is telling not to drink, but you continue to drink. So this is very dangerous. And so we are using all kinds of public education tools, including social media, TV news, going to different schools and community to tell people about alcohol flushing. On top of that, we are actually also promoting No Alcohol Day in Taiwan. That is May 9th, because in Chinese, May 9th sounds like no alcohol. And since 2019, the government has been helping also to educate people on the No Alcohol Day about alcohol flushing. And so I think this is a lesson if you are people from the East Asian countries. I think this can be done in different countries such as China, Japan, and Korea, or even Singapore. And I think we can also do this in the United States because we do have a large East Asian community and immigrants, and they need to know about the danger of alcohol flushing. And so lastly, I just have 2-3 messages for you. That is to tell you that if you are not drinking, it's not a good idea to start drinking because alcohol can cause addiction and all the harms. Its benefits really just social. People think alcohol is a lubricant. So drinking alcohol occasionally, it's probably okay, but really you shouldn't be consuming alcohol regularly. Here, the NIH has an alcohol drinking guideline to tell people not to drink in excess of more than 2 drinks per day for men and 1 drink for women. And so this is the guideline in the United States. This is mainly to prevent people to become dependent on alcohol. However, if you carry the alcohol flush mutation or if you are alcohol intolerant, really, my advice to you is not to drink at all. And there's really no safe limit of alcohol drinking, especially for people who are alcohol intolerant. And I think also in the United States, perhaps we need to implement a more stringent guideline of alcohol drinking, especially for people with alcohol intolerance. And so I will stop here. And lastly, I just want to acknowledge my lab, research lab at Stanford University. I work in the lab of Professor Daria Moshiri-Wilson, and also like to acknowledge NIH, the NIAAA, for their research funding for my research on the alcohol intolerance. And also Dr. Eric Gross from the Department of Anesthesiology, Perioperative, and Pain Management at Stanford University. And also the nonprofit organization in Taiwan, the Alcohol Intolerance Education Society, who is helping me to educate the public in Taiwan. Thank you very much.